In my last video on the channel, I was talking about the Delphi case and a small little detail that bothers me about that case. I think about it a lot. I want to talk in this video about a little detail in the Summer Wells case. Michelle After Dark had a video, I think 2 days ago now, about the timeline minus everything that Jodie Sue told us. I think it was 2 days ago. The first part of the video was on the Riker boy, and then the second part was on this. I'll put it in the cards here in case you haven't seen it. But Michelle was talking about, most of you know this stuff, she was talking about the milk jug photo. This was taken at 3:09. It's about 10 minutes from the Wells home. I talked about it a few times before. My first and second video I ever did on this channel were on this topic. And there is basically a 3-hour gap where we know very, very little. We got Candus's script, her little story about coming home, the plans, blah, blah, blah. Takes about 10-15 minutes by the way she describes it, not 3 hours. And this is what set most people off on this case, because we cannot understand where did the time go. There's a 3-hour gap. It's just too much. I believe that the TBI have put to Candus, have told her that they believe she left the hill twice that day. I think this came up on a recorded call from Benny Keys and Candus, and he talked about it. She doesn't deny it. I'm pretty sure it's true. True that at least the TBI believe that, and the TBI have put that to Candus. This little 3-hour gap, Candus has thrown things in there, Jodie Sue has thrown things in there. I heard a scream, I saw her at this time, I saw him at this time. Both of them are just liars. What other way to say it? They're liars. We don't know what they're making up. We don't know what they're not making up. And if you strip everything out of what they said, we're left with two kind of timestamps. We're left with Candus getting home around 3:20, 3:30 at a max, and we're left with the 911 call coming in around 6:26. But there is one other interesting timestamp in that time period. Michelle didn't mention it, and I do think it gets overlooked a bit. It should be honed in on a bit more. We know nothing about that gap, but this we do know. We know that Candus posted a photo to Facebook and deleted it. Why? Why did she do that? I'm not even sure what time this was posted. I have two screenshots. I originally thought it was 5:06. Some people have come back and said no, it was 6:06. I have a screenshot which shows both, and it seems that the person who took the screenshot took it early on in the case, maybe the day after Summer Wells was reported missing. But I can't confirm which one is true unless I know the exact location of the person who took that screenshot. Neither time makes any sense. 6:06 doesn't. Why is Candus on her phone at 6:06? She's out in the hill looking for her daughter. 5:06 doesn't make much sense either, but if I was to guess which one it is, probably 5:06. But I don't know. If anyone does and can let me know 100% which time this is from, I'd love to know. The actual photo itself is not from that day. We know this because the length of the boy's hair, it's shorter. It was taken weeks before. Summer is also in the bottom of this photo, in the bottom right hand corner. And like I was saying, Tennessee actually has 2 time zones. So I think the person who took this screenshot would have been in Tennessee. I'm just not sure which time zone they were in. And when you're looking at someone's profile on Facebook, the time of the photo, it will show you the time in your time zone, not the time zone of that person. But in a gap of time where we know pretty much nothing, we know for sure that Candus posted this photo to Facebook. Why did she do that? Was it just business as usual for Candus, posting photographs of her kids on social media? And 6:06 doesn't really make sense because she should be on the hill looking for Summer already. That's why I kind of veer towards 5:06. But I could be wrong on that, I don't know. 6:06 is bad, but 5:06 is probably a bit worse, because I speculated in the past that when Candus got home, she had a joint, she had a spliff, she was after having a very hard day. She was on TikTok looking at all the kind of TikToks that she took at the swimming hole, and she just got sucked into her phone, carried away, spent 2 or 3 hours on her phone without realising that, hey, where's Summer? She's gone. But this photo on Facebook is a deliberate action. I'm not buying anything like, oh, this was posted, this was a pocket dial, this was posted on accident when she got back and the Wi-Fi connected. Nonsense. There's too many steps to go through the Facebook app to post this photo. It's not a recent photo either, so you have to go through your gallery to actually post this. Was Candus just stuck in her phone? Was she just on social media? Is this business as usual? Candus posting a photograph at 5:06. She doesn't even realise Summer's gone at this time. This is coming up to an hour 45 minutes after she got home. Is that all it is? If it is, it just tells us for sure that Candus wasn't paying attention and was stuck in her phone. Or is it something else? Is it a whack attempt at an alibi? Was Candus not even on that hill at 5:06? Was this an attempt to put her back there? If it is, it's not a great attempt, because Summer is also in this photograph in the bottom right, and the boy's hair is shorter, so we know for sure that that photo is not from that day, it's from weeks before. People also pointed out in the last video, if you were scrolling through your phone pretty quick looking for a photo, you might not notice that Summer was in the bottom right of this photo, and that's true. If you just think about it yourself, you're going through your phone just frantically looking for a photograph, find one of the boys, you're focused on him, you just upload that. Like I said, it's not a photo of that day. The child's hair is too short. The photo's metadata will have this for sure, obviously. So if this is an attempt at an alibi of sorts, it's pretty poor. It's a pretty stupid attempt, even for the likes of Candus. Maybe I'm giving her a bit too much credit there, but it did happen. It did happen. Why did Candus post this photo? Why did she delete it? Is the photo from 5:06? Is it from 6:06? Why is Candus posting photographs on Facebook when she should be looking after at one time, and at the other time she should be looking for her daughter? She's missing. You're meant to be on a hill looking for her. TBI obviously have all this data. They know exactly what time this was posted at. They know when the original photograph was taken. They know how long Candus was on her phone that day, what time she unlocked her phone at, what she did on her phone. They have it all, and they know what time she wasn't on her phone. And they have told us, Detective John Pruitt has told us, that they've gone through all the data, everything they can get their hands on, and it basically got them nowhere. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, but I would really, really like to know. And that's a frustrating thing about Candus. Like, there's lots of questions that we have, there's lots of answers that she can give us, but when she does talk and when she does come on YouTube, nobody is asking her these type of questions. People are afraid that she'll stop talking to them and the Cash Apps and PayPals and Super Chats will dry up. She's either not answering questions at all, getting really softball questions that don't go in near anything that we want to know, or else she's getting the opposite. She's getting kind of smart-ass questions that I wouldn't blame her for not communicating with these people. But why can't she answer some simple questions? Why doesn't someone just ask her, hey Candus, what's the story with this photo? Was it 5:06? Was it 6:06? Why were you on your phone at that time? Why did you delete this photo? Like, these are just normal questions. Maybe she can give us a really reasonable answer. And while we're at it, it might be worthwhile asking Candus about Andy Jr., Damien. Does she know him as Damien, or does she know him as Andy Jr.? Has he been in that swimming pool with Summer, like Fred told us? What is he like? What is the young fella like? Does he know Hunter? If you wanted a bit of weed off Jodie Sue or Andy, was Andy Jr. dropping her up to you? Just basic normal questions. Well, maybe not the last one, but just basic normal questions other than that. I'm probably asking a bit too much there for those questions to be answered, but for now I would just love to know what time this photograph was taken at. Does anybody know for sure? And I don't mean what time you think the photograph was taken at. Does anybody know the person who took this original screenshots of this photograph? Has anybody else followed up on this to try and nail down the time that the photograph was taken? Because I think it's important, again, in that time period where we know nothing, we have one other timestamp. And I think if we know for sure which one it is, whether it's 5:06 or 6:06, it does tell us something. It tells us a little bit anyway. Let me know what you think. Thanks as always to my YouTube members and Patreon members. There's the new podcast and some new members only videos up in the past week. A bit different to true crime stuff, a bit of a break, but I really enjoyed making them, and thanks so much for the feedback. Good luck, God bless, have a good day.